Alright class, so as you guys can tell, I am currently quarantined. I'm very sorry about this, but this is the best instruction I can give you while I'm away. So this video is specifically for Ceramics 1 hand building. If you are in Ceramics 2 or in Ceramics 1 wheel throwing, then disregard this video. It doesn't mean anything to you. So Ceramics 2 hand builders, you guys are currently working on a slump mold. This would be considered a large slump mold. I have 2 handles on it with patterns on them. And if you remember the requirements for this assignment, if you have a large slump mold, you need to have 2 handles and no feet. If you have a medium-sized project, you have 2 handles and 4 feet. If you have a small project, you need 4 feet and 2 handles and 2 projects. And a small one would be like a little butter dish. So for this assignment, you have to decorate it a certain way. You can either do a pattern on the project, which you would do before you, when you have a flat slab of clay and before you slump it over your mold. Or you can either choose to do an outline or a silhouette, which I'm going to show you today. And so the way that this is done at the leather hard stage. And just another side note, the larger your project is, the more likely it is to crack. And so you need to make sure, especially with your handles, that they're drying very slowly. And the way that you get a project to dry slowly is you expose it to the air for a certain amount of time and then you cover it. And so for this project, this will take about a week and a half to dry, and every day I will take the bag off the project and then I will put it back on at the end of class. That way it's giving an hour of dry time. So anyways, so I have my project here. It is leather hard, and I have my 2 handles. They're both leather hard as well. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the handles. Now, if you notice, I went over this in class, but I'm going to go over it again because it can be kind of tricky. When I make my handles, I always cut a section out of the rim so my hand has enough room to grab the project. If you don't cut it out, imagine taking this out of the oven at 350 degrees with your Thanksgiving roast in it, and you can't get your fingers around there and somehow it breaks and you ruin Thanksgiving. And then everyone blames you because you didn't make your project right. So you want to make sure that when you put your handles on, I always like to put my handles on not vertically, not horizontally, but a diagonal angle, just because it's more comfortable for the hand. And then, so what I do is I put my handle up to the pot, and then I draw a line, kind of like a U-shaped line, from one side of the pot, the handle, to the other, and that's the section that I will cut out. And then I look at the contour of the handle, and I cut that contour where it's going to be sitting on the bowl. Now you want to make sure that when you cut the handles out, you don't cut them, the way that you hold your needle is the way that the handle's actually going to go on. So I'm not going to cut it this way, I'm not going to cut it this way, I'm going to hold my needle on a diagonal angle, cut here, and then that's where I'll attach my handle. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So what is the process called by which you attach 2 pieces of clay together? You guys should know this. It's called slipping and scoring. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get that wet. And then do you want to come around here and just watch this? So I'm going to push this over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to score this clay. And I'll score that side. You want nice deep score marks. I'll score that side as well. You want to be really careful with your handle, because at the leather hard stage, if you break your handle, you're starting over, you're not making another one. So I'll get those wet. Get this wet. And then I will score, I'll create slip by putting my finger and rubbing the clay. And then I will finish it with a score. That's what we do at Skyview. We always finish with a score. You know, it's kind of amazing. I've never been to any high school or known of any high school that has ever taken as many state titles as Skyview has within the past couple of years. So after I score both sides, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push down pretty firm, wiggle them back and forth. And what you should see is, if you can see right here, you'll actually see mud or slip, as we call in ceramics, really wet clay, should come off. And that's one of the ways you will know that you have a good slip and score. Okay, so as far as the outline goes, just dip that in water. Keep that a little bit wet until I attach the other one. Just for the sake of time, because I don't want you guys to have to watch me put on another handle. So I have a bunch of outlines, and the way that this is done is you're going to take a piece of paper that you printed off, the outline of it, you're going to cut it out, set it in the pot, and then take a pencil and you're going to trace over the outline. And I have a bunch of outlines here I kind of wanted to show you guys. So I'll face these towards you. This is a bad example, and this is a good example of an outline. So these are the bad examples right here. These are good examples. So it's a good example. So you can see that these are bad examples for the fact this is a good example. This will be what I'm using. You want to just see the silhouette or the outline. All the stuff that's on the inside, all the lines and all the designs, you won't see. And it's very difficult to get those type of details. So for the sake of making it look nice for your project, I would definitely choose a project where you just have the outline or a silhouette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, you know what? I'm going to go something a little different than I normally do. I'm going to do the mountain. So what I'm going to do is, and I would go down to the computer lab, and what you want to do is you want to just type in outline of. So if you really like kittens, you want a picture or an outline of a kitten, you can type in outline of kitten. And then you'd find one where it has a good silhouette of a kitten. And then you'd print off, and I would print off maybe a small, medium, and large. And what you want to do is you want to put the outline in the project. You want to get closer? You want to put the outline in the project and see, okay, is this a good size? Because I don't want a really small one and I don't want it to be overpowering. But this right here is a good size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around the outline pretty loosely. You don't need to be too close to it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ballpoint pen or a pencil. I'm going to position the mountain right in the center of the project. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to push as hard as I can on the pen without breaking through the paper. If you break through the paper, and you want to make sure that you're dragging the pen, not pushing the pen, because if you push, you're going to stab through the paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this pen or pencil, and if you have a pencil, it has to be a blunt pencil. You don't want a sharp pencil. But you're going to drag that ballpoint pen or pencil behind you, and you're going to push pretty firm. And so if you haven't noticed, this pot is leather hard when I'm doing this. The handles and the feet, everything are on. And then when I'm done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that off, and if you can see, there's an outline of the mountain. You are not going to touch any of this at all with your hand. You don't want to go back over it with a pencil or a pen because it'll look really bad. You want to just leave that very faint impression there, and then you're going to bisque fire it. After it's bisque fired, that's going to be your outline where you apply wax, kind of like this. So I applied wax all to the inside of the silhouette, so you have a silhouette of an elk. So that is how it's done. Afterwards, you don't want to touch the silhouette at all. And if you, for some reason, have paper that sticks to your silhouette, do not worry about that paper. The paper burns off at like 300-400 degrees, and the pot's going to 2,000 degrees. So don't worry about the paper. Just leave it there. You don't want to be picking all of it out because it'll just make a mess of your project. Hopefully this was helpful. This is my first demonstration. Please be good for the substitute. Clean up after yourself. You guys are awesome. Hope you have an awesome rest of your day.